Hello geeks, Margaret here to give you some tips and tricks for taking care of your emergency 20-sided die necklace. We're going to first take a look at opening and closing the cage of the necklace. When you open and close your cage, make sure that your necklace and cage is going to be on a flat surface. We don't suggest you take the cage off while you're wearing the necklace, as it can cause the cage to become a little deformed. So we definitely suggest using a flat surface. So all you're going to do to open your cage is that there's a lobster clasp at the end of your necklace that holds 2 rings. All you're going to do is unhinge those rings. 1, 2. Open up the cage gently, and your die is free. Okay, your cage, you want to make sure it stays as flat as possible. We'll talk about some ways that you can fix this if it gets a little tangled up. But we want to make sure it's as flat as possible. Okay, and we're not going to worry about which way the die is facing inside the cage yet. You can fix that after you get it reclosed. So I'm just going to take my die after I'm done using it, place it in the kind of the middle of the cage, take the 2 end rings. Okay, you'll notice that the cage is long on one side. You want the short side with the 2 end rings. Those are the rings you're going to grab. So you're going to place my die, take my 2 end rings, and try to meet them up in the middle, just like that. Take my lobster clasp, my fingers would work. Take one ring, the other ring, and it is closed up. Then you're just going to shimmy your die in the slack of the cage to make it face whatever way you want it to face. Okay, so that's how you open and close your cage. Awesome. Okay. It is also fun to switch out the dice, so we'll do that here in a second too, so that way you have some different color options too. But I also want to talk about what you can do if your cage gets a little deformed. So I'm going to go ahead and unhinge it, and I'm going to take this die away, and let's pretend that your I don't know, a kid came over and knocked the cage off the table, or your cat came over and batted it off the table. Okay, so the end result, you kind of want it to look like this again. Okay, you have your 2 long links over here. Okay, the long part goes this way, and you're looking for these 2 end rings that kind of stick out a little further. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of mess it up, deform it a little bit. Okay. So all you're going to do is kind of play with it until you can make that form again. Alright, so we'll mess it up a little bit more. Try to find the rings again. Take it out. There we go. Sometimes the rings flip. Sometimes you'll have to move them so that they're not flipped. Just like that. Kind of help it get back into its form. Okay? Awesome. Okay, like I said, it's fun to take another colored die. This is our rainbow die. I'm going to stick it inside there too. Okay. And take my 2 end pieces and meet it up with the lobster clasp. As I'm doing this is for 20-sided dice only. I have tried it with other dice, and the gaps here kind of make some of them fall out. It is definitely not recommended for the 4-sided dice because those fall out really easily. But if anybody's interested, I can work on some of those. But this is only for 20-sided dice. Guarantee that they will not fall out. Awesome. Some other things about your necklace. This is considered a jewelry item, and you should treat it as a jewelry item. Be gentle and patient when learning about the cage and figuring it out. As with any jewelry, when you're wearing the necklace, make sure you're not pulling down on your cage or pendant or charm or whatever jewelry item you're wearing, so that way you don't bend any of these rings, because once the rings bend, that's about it for the cage. Make sure you always lay your item and necklaces out on a flat surface. Check for any knots in your necklace. Make sure your cage doesn't look deformed at all. To avoid tarnishing any of the metal pieces, I suggest keeping in a small Ziploc bag when you're not wearing your necklace. It'll help keep the moisture out. With that, avoid getting your necklace wet. And avoid using skincare products wherever your necklace is resting. Okay, so that's the emergency 20-sided die necklace. If you ever have issues or questions, don't be afraid to reach out. Our Etsy page and Facebook page will be in the description. All right, I hope you enjoy your 20-sided die necklace and have fun rolling. Stay geeky.